Tax implications. That's one of the main things nobody ever wants to talk about when you talk about trading cryptocurrencies or traditional investments. One traditional investments, maybe they talk about it a little bit more. So that's one of the reasons I was one of the top things that I wanted to address for new traders and longtime traders. People don't think about it. You know, you think about ICOs, IPOs, or new coins and altcoins. When you invest in these, you got to say, what is your prediction? How much are you expecting this to return to you? The moment you sell a cryptocurrency, I assume that I'm going to incur 50% in taxes. So 50% of all that profit's leaving in taxes. It may not be 10 and 50%, depending on where you live, but it's better to estimate more and then be pleasantly surprised when you pay less. So when you factor in, well, let me get in this IPO, let me get in this ICO, let me buy this altcoin because it's really going to do well, and you're holding Bitcoin. Just imagine, as soon as you sell that Bitcoin, you're already going to owe up to 50% of the profit that you made off that. So how much are you expecting that altcoin to perform? For how long are you going to hold it? These are all statistical and mathematical things you can take into consideration. This is why, you know, the long-term investor always wins. Most of my money that I've made over the years has been from long-term investing, believe it or not. I've made some amazing plays over the years, but when I look back and I think about my initial investments in 2016 in Ethereum and stuff, if I'd have just stuck with that, I would probably be ahead. And, you know, I hate to say it, but it's a common thing when it comes to traders. You would be better off in the long run. They just said that about someone that's like super rich. Never mind. But anyway, just factor in these things. You got to look at your plays. Look back at these things. Like I said, if you bought Bitcoin, you put $1,000 in Bitcoin 5 years ago, and now that investment is worth $100,000. That means you made $99,000 in profit. Now you see an altcoin, and you're like, hey, you know what? I think this is going to do well, or it's an ICO, an IPO, whatever. The moment you sell that BTC, you trigger a taxable event. Okay, so that means that up to half of the profit is taxed. So then you're only having a smaller amount. So how much more does that altcoin or ICO, IPO have to perform for you to make up for that taxable event? Nowadays, I think more in terms of tax than I do anything else, really. You know, when new things come out like the DoorDash and this kind of stuff, I'm like, oh, you know, the IPOs, the Snowflake. I think, well, maybe I should invest in this and these altcoins. I think, okay, well, how much more does it have to go? Because I don't care. DoorDash doubled the first day of the IPO came out. But if I had sold my current holdings, the taxable event I would have created would not have made up or would have barely skimmed the income I would have generated from investing in the IPO. So these are things you should take under consideration and you should factor in. There are a couple of ways around this kind of stuff if you want to, you know, day trade. I think the biggest one is that I would advocate for, invest new money in these new projects, right? So payroll, your business income, keep long-term holdings, you generate new money, the new money you put in the market, invest in smaller projects. You're really overconfident about the project that it's going to do extremely well, take a loan against your main portfolio and invest it in the IPO, ICO, or altcoin, whatever's going on, because that doesn't create a taxable event. These are a great way that, you know, institutional investors and large portfolios, you know, myself also, I do it. Again, you know, margin investing and taking loans against your investment when it comes to cryptocurrency is very dangerous. I've been burnt by it before, and that's why I don't really do it. Only time I take loans against my investments is if I'm investing in traditional stocks that I feel very strong, that are very established. However, Bitcoin is very established. You know, you're talking about timetable. You're talking about almost a decade now, if not longer, that it's been around. However, you look at those price swings. You know, within a year, a little over a year, went from $4,000 or $5,000 to $40,000. So, you know, can it go back to $5,000? No. Will it go under $10,000? Probably not. But you could still lose 50%. You know, within a couple of weeks. Why could you? Because a ton of people. Majority of Bitcoin is still held on to people that bought in very low. And at any point, they could dump some of that for profit. And it's a snowball effect. Once people start selling, it's just tumble. Because most of cryptocurrency investors are novices, unfortunately. So that means that the temperament of the trading and the emotional trading is higher than ever before. So these are things, and I'm trying to give it to you straight. You know, no more bullshit. You know, I've been involved a long time in trading and in cryptocurrency. Just want to give you the best advice that I can, especially because, you know, I'm set, so I'm good. I'm happy where I'm at, And I really just miss doing videos and sharing things. And I guess I re-entered the space because I feel to some extent I have some value that I could share with people. And we'll see if that's the case. So anyway, another point that I wanted to touch on is, investing, how to pick investments and stuff. Oddly enough, the most money I've ever made has always been my own picks. The only things, I've lost more money following anybody's advice. I think following anyone's advice is horrible advice. You just shouldn't do it. You should only invest when you're confident in your knowledge of that specific market. So it's better to invest in what you know. What do you know? How does someone know something? Well, I've been an entrepreneur for 10 years in tech, online businesses. So I invest in what I understand. I think we all have a basic understanding of economics. I mean, a lot of investment in companies, they would flourish during the pandemic. So when the pandemic started, I invested in fitness equipment companies like Peloton. I invested in Etsy specifically because a lot of people would be at home. So I figured a lot of these people would try to start little side businesses, side hustles and stuff like that. I also invested in Shopify, the e-commerce platform. These have performed incredibly well. I actually tripled my traditional portfolio. So these are things anybody could figure out. But you have to spend time thinking about it. I think that's a privilege over the years that I've acquired is time. Time is going to give you the greatest advantage as long as you spend it wisely. I pace a lot. I think. I talk to myself. And I think about stuff. I think about the news and where the world is going, the events politically and economically that are unfolding and how that's going to affect people's perception. What are people going to do? I didn't per se think, I got to admit, that cryptocurrency would hit an all-time high during COVID, but it makes sense in retrospect. Where is it going to go from here? Well, I have theories, and I have theories of investments and different things. But I think that before you trust anybody about their investment advice or perspective, you have to understand that kind of market. People talk about do your own research. It's a meme almost. It goes back a decade. Do your own research. Do your own research. What is doing your own research? What does that even mean? First thing most people will tell you is read the white paper of the project. I'm read the white paper. Developers and executives can write whatever they want in a white paper. That doesn't mean anything. It is how people perceive it. A lot of these projects in the altcoins, they don't have an application. They're not generating revenue per se. Everyone's investing on a wish and a dream. And the difference, I think, between traditional stocks and cryptocurrencies and altcoins is ICOs and altcoins is a vehicle to raise money without giving someone a tangible ownership in the company per se. You're not getting dividends. You have no promise. You're just hoping that, it's going to gain traction. So I do look, and this is a whole nother thing, I do look for projects that have a monetary business value when it comes to the progress that cryptocurrency could do. But anyway, I diverge when it comes to that. You should invest in what you know. It's not about the white paper. You should get comfortable with the economics and just knowing about it. So follow the news, get involved in cryptocurrency. Eventually you'll feel confident. You'll kind of have your own expectations and kind of feel out where things are going. Whether it's investing in coins before they hit Coinbase or, digging deeper into the white paper and application. So anyway, I really appreciate you guys tuning in. It's really great to be back. I will answer any questions you guys ask in the comments, and I'm going to keep on doing videos with some regularity, specifically to, just talk about what I'm doing financially and investment-wise, and to share with you guys and help out with investing in cryptocurrencies. Thank you so much for tuning in. And as always, buy red and sell green.